Huddersfield then picked up their first win of the season. I think they shocked everyone by beating Wigan, previously unbeaten. What did you make to their outing?
Yeah, I thought they were excellent. I thought they fully capitalised on on that field position that they got at the start. I thought Wigan defended really hard that first 20 minutes and ultimately left themselves too much to do, but you've also got to give massive credit to Huddersfield for that. I don't think it's any coincidence that they get a couple of key players back and they look a bit more like you'd expect Huddersfield to look. They'll have Swift back this week as well, who's really good at getting them on the front foot. So we're expecting the best version of Huddersfield. They've got the wind between the sails after that first win, a great win as it were too. And our job's to make sure that we knock that wind out of the sails and make sure we're the more committed team on Saturday to get them 2 points.
Yeah, I was going to ask you what you felt the main difference was now under Andy Kelly, obviously in interim charge there after Luke Robertson lost his job last week. Is it as simple as having a bit of extra personnel back in that squad?
I think Andy Kelly's an absolute great bloke who I've got a hell of a lot of respect for, and Liam Finn I coached with for a number of years at Wakefield through the youth systems. I think we had 3 or 4 years together, so I know Finn's coaching and I know how intelligent and detailed he is. But I thought how they all spoke after the game. It was no coincidence that you get Clune back, you get Wolford back in there, and you can start getting them more settled connections that they spoke about that looked a bit more gelled as a team. And I think they all spoke very highly of Robbo, and it's live, people move on, but I think getting some key personnel back definitely helped them.
All that aside, does this still feel like a winnable game for you? The fact that you're going in against a side that haven't been in the best of form, even if they are seemingly starting to turn the ship around?
We go into every game feeling the winnable games, where we don't feel like little brother to anyone, and that's not going to change throughout the year. Listen, every single game we're going in all guns blazing to get them 2 points, and I'll never say any different here. We've got some excellent players of ourselves. You look at your Josh Griffins, your Paul Vaughns, your Paul McSheens, your Will Daggers, David Nofalumas. I could carry on going through the team. We've got some talent, so please don't take my words of credit to Huddersfield as a sign of disrespect to us. We're fully confident in his own ability. And we'll fear no one going into any game. We're fully confident in ourselves as a group, and we've just got to be ruthless with his own execution and demand more from ourselves to turn these tough losses into tough wins.
Okay, thanks, Mash.
Thank you. Gabriel.
Hi, Mash, how are you?
Yeah, good, thanks. How are you?
Yeah, good, thank you. Now 6 games into your Super League season, have you been happy with what you've seen so far from your team, or do you feel like there's still even more to come?
A bit of both, if I'm honest with you. I think there's always positives and negatives you can take out of every performance, and obviously we'll get judged on results. That's the nature of the beast at this level, but internally, there's that journey that individuals are on and you're on as a team. So I don't think we're a million miles off whatsoever. As the scoreboard probably reflects, I think we need to be a little bit more ruthless in his defence. We're leaking far too many points for my liking. So I think we need to improve that. I think we need to be a little bit more clinical in his execution, but at the same time, I understand why certain things have been how they are. We just got to demand more from each other, and that's what we're focusing on at the moment is pretty hard on each other throughout training on the week, and we want everyone to feel like $1 million on a match day, that they can go out there and perform, and you only feel like that if you're putting the hard reps in on the training field, don't you? So it's getting that balance. Obviously you've got bumps, you've got bruises, and you've got that work you need to get in, and that's the beauty of it all. You've got to kind of piece it all together and get that balance right between doing what you need to do and making sure everyone's in a good spot come game day. So I think that's the art of coaching along with the science of coaching.
You talked a lot about your players and how they made the step up to the Super League after playing in the Championship last season.
Yeah.
I know you've had a spell in the Super League previously as head coach at Wakefield, but have you had to develop your game in any way compared to how you sort of, I suppose, coached in the Championship?
Good question. I think you're always looking to develop. I think you learn a lot more about yourself and your team when you've got to go through these periods where your efforts aren't getting turned into wins as such, and that's really important. You what's the right word here? Detach yourself from the result. I always look at the process. Are we doing everything we feel we can control? Obviously, for example, last week we couldn't control losing 3 outside backs in 15 minutes, but we can control his reaction to that. And they're the sort of things that I look at as myself as a coach. Am I making sure that I'm coming with solutions, not excuses? Am I making sure my staff and my players are feeling empowered? Am I doing my job that everyone feels supported? Am I challenging everyone enough? Am I setting the standard right and holding myself to that standard? And I feel like that's my job as an head coach, and it is jobs as head coaches. So as long as I feel I can tick them boxes, I feel like I'm in a good spot personally, and I'm offering something to the team, and that's what I'll focus on. And I think that's part of the development. I'd like to think every single year it's going to be a different challenge and a different experience, and you've just got to make sure that you keep on pushing them boundaries and challenging yourself and everyone around you.
You talk about your team as well. Liam Harris has now been out for a few weeks.
Yeah.
How's he sort of dealing with that? Being the captain, he must be kicking himself that he's not currently in the action.
I think he's over that part now. Naturally, you're going to have a day or two where you're a bit down, but life moves on very quickly, and you can't afford to dwell on it, can you? He's kind of accepted where he's at. We know a rough time for him. We can then reverse engineer it, and he's fully attacking his rehab. So it stung him for a day or two, but as soon as we had that scan and we knew the prognosis and where we needed to get after, he's put a plan in place, and he's full steam ahead into getting back fit and ready to help the team out when he is.
With his experience and his know-how of his teammates, have you been, I suppose, asking or calling him to help you out with parts of coaching or anything like that, or is he just leaving him to his treatment right now?
I think how we have we've got a real tight group at York, and that's one thing I don't want to lose is the connections that we have. Liam's Liam, he's club captain. He'll still speak up in meetings where he feels he can add value. He's no different there to a lot of players in them positions, and naturally he's still at main field sessions watching all that, and we've empowered him that if he does see anything in positions that we may have missed, to get after it. But then apart from that, he's like any other player. He's focusing on his rehab and wanting to get fit so he can add value that way as well.
Pete's already asked you about incomings and things like that, but
Yeah.
with the number of injuries you've currently got in your squad, are you actively in the market? Are you looking for any potential, I suppose, players that can come in and bolster your ranks?
No, we're just focusing on what we've got. As I say, I still feel we've got enough talent out there on that field to go out there and do what we need to do. And there's always two sides to a coin, isn't there? And it's just which side you want to look at. And I'm massive on that. Glass half full. Let's get after it. And as I said, I named some of them players earlier. There's some good talent in our team still. And I'm not a massive fan of coaches that sit up here, trying to blame injuries or whatever. It's part of the game. It's how you deal with a bit of adversity, and I personally want to be someone that can deal with adversity and move forward, and I want our team to be that team as well. So we're just cracking on with it, and just it's life, isn't it? You just move forward.
Last thing from me, it's on the Huddersfield game. I appreciate it's pre-season, so you probably couldn't take anything from it, but that friendly you had against Huddersfield at the start of the season, are you able to take anything from that, or is it sort of forgotten about?
I won't say forgotten about. There were definitely lessons we needed to learn about. We learned a lot about ruck control, obviously, with these new rules and all that. I think they'll run the same spine that they played in that pre-season, so we can have a look at that and some of the shapes that they wanted to execute. But Every game's a new learning opportunity, isn't it? And we know where we feel Huddersfield are strong, where they've got a bit of vulnerability, and likewise they'll know exactly that on us. And as I say, we're more focusing on ourselves. Again, you're probably sick of me saying that every week, but we felt we left 5 or 6 tries out there last Friday, through his own undoing. Like knock-ons in good positions, or not squaring people up just how we should, or not executing how we should. And that's what kind of we're focusing on at the moment, is listen, we're doing all this hard work and getting into good positions, and let's turn that position into points as such, and get that scoreboard pressure as well.
Brilliant. Thanks, Mash.
Thank you. Pete?
Hi, Mash. Just very quick one from me. Sam Wood got an injury last week.
Yeah.
His finger or his hand. What's the update on that?
So he got a compound dislocation. He's had it cleaned out, so he's in a cast, I believe, for a week, just to let that settle down, and then he should be good to go. He's a pretty tough cookie, Woody, so I don't envision that being longer than a week or two. So a bit of a compound dislocation. It's again part and parcel of rugby league, isn't it? You get all these finger injuries too. So it's all been cleaned out of the hospital, and hopefully he shouldn't miss much more than the Huddersfield game.
Thanks, Mash. Appreciate that.
Thank you.
All the best for this weekend.
Thank you. Stephen?
Now then, you okay?
Yeah, good, thank you, mate. How are you?
I'm excellent. Yeah, that's just about covered most of it for me. I'm going to just ask you a bit more about Liam Finn. Was it just at Wakefield that you'd worked with him?
Yes.
Yeah, so we played together 2004, I believe, together.
Oh, right, okay.
We both had hair then, believe it or not. And Finn is a great coach, and we used to coach the academies together at Wakefield. And love coaching with Finney. Think he's an excellent coach, and looking forward to locking arms with him on Saturday.
Would you have seen him as a future head coach at some point down the line, as you'd worked with him?
Naturally playing the position he did, he's always been a student of the game, very knowledgeable. What I love about Finney too is he's very much his own man and forward thinking. He's not scared of putting some new ideas out there and his own stamp on things, and he's someone that I've got massive respect for.
So do you think there's a way you can establish a rivalry with Huddersfield that's like Wigan Saints and the Hull Derby as his rivals round?
Yeah, it'd be nice, wouldn't it? It'd be nice. But yeah, listen, you're right, our full focus this week's straight onto Huddersfield. Literally we've got to make sure that we're the more desperate team on Saturday to get them 2 points, don't we?
Excellent. Best of luck. Cheers.
Thank you. David or Richard?
Are you okay?
Yeah, good, thank you, mate. How are you?
Yeah, very well indeed. Xavier Var really announced himself, I felt, this week. I thought he had an exceptional game, perhaps his best thus far this season. Did you see the same way?
Yes, listen, X has been getting better and better. He's someone that obviously we'd looked at throughout the off-season, and he's doing exactly what we thought he would. I think his carries have been excellent. He's got great potential to be a top from rower, and he's definitely starting to fulfil that. Student of the game, works hard on his game every week to get better. Obviously a couple of fix-ups we're working with him on that he's fully on board with, just little tweaks to his game, and absolutely love working with him, and glad that he's getting the reward for the hard work that he's putting in, and long may it continue.
In terms of your front row, there's quite a nice mix there, isn't there, in terms of the different personalities and traits that you've got. That must be encouraging in terms of who to start, who to bring off as impact, etc. Yeah,
definitely. You always want that blend, don't you? Simple game. Probably the best way I got described at the front row is the easiest job description, the hardest one to execute. And I think you need that balance around what you've got. Obviously, we've got Varney in there that's got that presence about him and gets you on the front foot. Xavier's great at doing his carries, getting that post contact meters. We've got young Marto that's obviously working hard and he's a bit of an engine room for us. And then you've got Justin that's obviously got that impact about him and the offloading game. And you look at some of the talent that's out there. You could class Jordy Thompson, who's obviously injured with that torn bicep. Kieran Hudson due back. From his knee injury, and a few others. There's some good blend there, and we just got to keep everyone working hard, and wanting to perform.
Yeah, and of course you're coming up against a Huddersfield team that will be buoyant off the back of an incredible win last week. Suddenly there's a lot of pace in their back line. Conor Wrench, of course, I know him well. Considering how long he'd been out, he really did add some spark, didn't he, to them on that right edge? Yeah,
I think he's an excellent player. I coached Conor as a youth athlete in the England setup, and he caught everyone's eye then, and it was great to see him, excel at Warrington, how we were. He's obviously had a bit of a cruel time with them injuries, and it's great to see him back in the game now and playing how he did. I thought he were excellent. So he'd had so many months out of the game, and that were really pleasing to see. So we'll have to be at his best to deal with all their back five. As you said, I think they've got some real good blend themselves. Swift back in there will get him going. He's very powerful, really good at getting him on the front foot. Both centres, different sort of blend to them, but we'll have to be at his best there too. And then Evels at fullbacks, he's got a great carry on him as well. So we know we're going to have to be at his best defensively to make sure we deal with them transitions, and it's a chance we look forward to.
Lastly, for me, a lot of the teams in the middle of the league table have been quite erratic. Big wins one week, big losses the other. And even in the Leeds game for yourself, you were right in that game. Is that consistency of effort and performance going to be vital to you in the long haul in terms of picking up more wins and staying ahead of the competition in those areas?
Yeah, I think every team's craving a bit of consistency, aren't they? As you say, apart from them teams that are, at the top. That's I'm thinking. Warrington's here and that's had that level of consistency about them. I think everyone's still trying to find the groove a bit. I'm sure that any team could point to a number of reasons, but the reality is you do need to find your groove. And if I focus on us and where we're at, we feel that if we're baking a cake, we've baked 90% of it and we just need to get that extra 10%. The fundamentals are there, but the fundamentals just by themselves aren't good enough. We've got to demand that extra 5-10% in what we do, whether that's the clinicalness, ball in hand, whether that's a little bit more connection in defence or a little bit more smarts here and there, and they're what we're after in training at the moment. So yeah, we just have to get in that that extra bit out of us to take them tough losses into tough wins.
Good luck, mate. All the best.
Cheers, guys.